Hello, my name is Robert Mitchell, and today Electromaker is here at Hardware Pioneers Max 2024 London. Now, particles, tiny little things, but did you know that they can also be used for internet? Today, I'm joined by my great friend Marek from Particle. Great to meet you.
Hey, what about this kind of, this kind of handshake?
Smash.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you for having us. And I suppose my first question to you is, what's going on here today?
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of like what this machine is doing, we have a motor that's running, and then we have a gyroscopic sensor that's attached. We have an accelerometer, and we have it all kind of connected to this board. And this board is the beginning of where our platform starts. So there's a cellular modem on that board. There's a Wi-Fi modem on that board, and then there's a Realtek brain on that board, microcontroller. It's taking a look at those sensor readings, and it's deciding, is there a problem? And if there's a problem, it's using a redundant series of networks to make sure that that information gets communicated as a problem to the stakeholder that's responsible for it. Yeah, that's using our platform. So when I say that this is just the beginning, this is just the beginning. So there's a operating system on top of this chip that is ours. That's our proprietary operating system that abstracts like the two biggest problems that customers have. The first is connectivity as an idea. We abstract that into a device OS, as we call it. That's our operating system layer. And then messaging, which we call publishing, which is a event stream structure that we've constructed that flows from that device through a secure data pipeline, CoAP, DTLS, into our platform.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
So one question I've got is that I actually have used quite a number of particle boards quite some years ago actually. So this is during the early like Argon times. My question is, in the past few years, what's changed? What if I came back today to your platform? What would I see that's changed about it?
So, I mean, my favorite thing that's changed is a real doubling up of investment in the platform side. So, for example, now you might really be into this. If you've been developing on the Argon, you can actually use a digital twin on the platform side to handle things like online sync, offline sync of information, warm storage. Yeah, and then we also have a feature called Logic that sits really well in that digital twin infrastructure that can do things like run functions, run operations, post-process any kind of data that's going through and send it out to integrations.
So it's almost like having a simulation of that board in the cloud.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's caught me off guard. That's actually really cool. A digital twin of a particle board in the cloud.
I mean, it makes a lot of things a lot easier. If you're trying to, let's say, handle a bunch of devices that are on the fleet, maybe a couple hundred of devices that are on the fleet, and they all have slightly different circumstances that you need to customize, well, you can actually use that digital twin, which you can write to via our API. So you can use the programming language of your choice to engage with that API and configure those devices post hoc once they're out in the field.
Does that also mean you could use it as like a testing platform as well? So let's say you want to, before you push an update to all your devices, you could create a digital twin, put the new software on, test it, and see if it works as expected.
Yeah, I mean, but that's so easy to do anyways within the particle ecosystem because you have, theoretically, you're developing with a device in front of you. We have a native IDE with Visual Studio Code. It has like native debugging features, everything all in one solution. So easy to debug and troubleshoot. And yeah, of course, if it's connected to the cloud, you can use that digital twin to see what's coming through.
That's absolutely fantastic. And one thing which I've seen as well is that you're starting to adopt these M2 key type sort
of
M2 I love them because they are so tiny.
Just screw them on, definitely coming from a world of, castellated solder on components, which meant that, if there was an issue somewhere, you're tearing out a whole board, that's a lot of spend. That's just a screwdriver, but it's also a really snug connection.
I think the castellated whole period was kind of like that. It was that weird part of history where we were going in the right direction, but we weren't quite there. I think the M2 key is kind of like the pinnacle of connected technology for these things. But it's great to see because, like you say, you could switch it for a more powerful version if you needed more features.
Exactly. Like in this particular case, you can switch this cellular only version with this cell plus Wi-Fi or with a cell plus Wi-Fi plus satellite solution. And that's just a matter of screwing something in.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So one thing I always liked about Particle when I was using it a number of years ago is how simple it was to use, like especially with the online platform. Because when IoT was coming out, I always remember trying to create dashboards. It was always very complicated with the solutions. You have to do it by yourself or use some proprietary method. But I liked yours because it was very much click and place. You could drop what you wanted where you wanted and it would work. So could you just give us a bit of an idea of what's going on here in terms of your platform?
Yeah, totally. So this is the kind of overview of what we call a product, which is a abstraction of a bunch of devices. You can see that this particular product has 182 devices in it. You can watch their event traffic, so seeing them push publishes to and from. You can watch their integrations and also the health of those integrations. So going out to your cloud, to your databases, whatever you like to do. One of the coolest parts, if you don't mind,
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
is this part right here. Oh, but I'm on my cell. Oh man, I might have dropped the connection. I'm on the cell. There's no Wi-Fi here.
A lot of people have had that problem today.
We should be using particle Wi-Fi as opposed to my laptop Wi-Fi. But really, a nice feature is the ability to just drag and drop compiled binary firmware, and then in a single click, flash it out to 100,000 devices.
And so you could have a large-scale solution deployed out there.
Yep.
There's need for a firmware update, and you can just push it out so long as they've all got connectivity.
Yeah, absolutely. Flashes immediately. And what's even cooler is that, like, let's say you have a solution that's connected via some kind of serial connection to an STM32 for additional I/O, or you have a screen connected to it. You can actually bundle an asset with that OTA and like flash that secondary micro all in one gesture using our platform.
So you would have a particle board followed by a different microcontroller, and you could use it almost like a JTAG.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
to reprogram that in
blimey.
solution. Yeah, because people like our OTA. It's like super clean.
It is amazing.
It's literally just a drag and drop solution. You compile it, drag and drop, hit flash, and it flashes the entire fleet or whatever subgroup of the fleet you want to flash it to.
Just for comparison, I'm not going to name names, but we know that there are companies out there who make microcontrollers, and you have to have all kinds of proprietary programming jigs. You have to stick them in. You have to upload the code. It's nice to see this kind of solution coming out onto the IT. It's really nice.
My favorite question for people in the connected micro sort of space who have been working with another board is, how's your flashing experience going?
Yeah.
Yeah. How easy is it to read?
Well, I just broke my last programmer, so I've got to get another one. It's going to cost me $150 to get one of those things.
Exactly.
Now, there was another question I got to ask you. Now, I can't remember if you could or couldn't do this last time when I last used Particle a number of years ago. But I take it that you can have custom scripts so that you can set post to different any server you want in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just that easy. I mean, it's a webhook infrastructure. So yeah, I mean, it's a very easy to integrate with everything. We just released a ton of new, much more native, easy to kind of scope integrations with platforms like AWS. But yeah, it's just a webhook.
And that brings me on another point, which I really like about Particle, is how you can have different variations of all different architectures, but your code will transport across all of them.
Hardware abstraction layers, baby. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing on all the different platforms. Yeah.
So, if you had to pick your favorite one, I think I know which one's going to be, but if you had to pick your favorite particle board, which one's going to be?
I do love it. I mean, this is a freaking flagship. If I had to pick a favorite, it's our absolute newest, which we don't have a copy of. Oh, wait. No, sorry. Look at this, baby. This is the most beautiful one that we got. This is the Monitor 1. A lot of people come to us for full retrofit applications, they don't want to deal with hardware. They just want to connect something.
You mean the whole thing?
Yeah. So this whole thing is a product that we have called the Monitor 1. Underneath it is essentially this type of architecture.
Yeah.
But with GNSS connection for GPS and the ability to have daughter cards that sit on top. So, have a daughter card that is scoped to your particular application, slap it on top, close the enclosure, slap your label on top of it, and your whole hardware solution is ready to go. Connect, via standard connectors to whatever, Modbus, CAN bus, whatever you're trying to connect to outside of the box, and
so it becomes basically plug and play with the different shields.
Super easy to go out in the field with.
That is absolutely fantastic. Now, just before we wrap up this video, I've got one more question for you. For those who are watching this video, if they want to get involved with Particle Solutions, what would you recommend that they do?
I mean, go to particle.io. Great place to check out the actual fleet offering in total. I would buy a Particle board at store.particle.io and go to setup.particle.io to experience how easy it is to connect something to the cloud.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for taking the time to see us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.